Yeah, she not on.
Oh yeah, she is. Certain type of dialogue.
Welcome to Dear Future Wifey celebration reunion of 50K subscribers. Let me tell you something. Without y'all, this would have never been possible. I thank y'all so much for being so dedicated to watching the podcast. I'm hoping that y'all are finding value. I'm getting tons of emails, tons of inbox messages. I read all the comments that's on the YouTube channel, and you guys are finding so much value in the content, and I appreciate y'all for sending the video out to your friends and family, letting them know that they should subscribe. And so now our next milestone is 100K subscribers. Can we do it? Can we do it by the end of this year? That would be absolutely amazing. Well, I'm so excited. We have a live audience today. We have a lot of the guests that you guys love so much here in studio. And so I'm so excited to just be in company with my family. You know, it feels like a family reunion. So our first guest, now this first episode, the guest, she was in season 1. This episode hits really close to home because it was entitled Purpose versus Preference. You know, I don't consider myself a shallow person, but I do like the way a woman looks. And so I have a tendency to, one thing that I want to make sure that I don't do is choose a woman based upon her outward appearance rather than the content of her character. And I had so much fun talking to this guest. But let's take a look at her episode.
To actually choose purpose over preference?
Yes, but I'm actually working on it. And you and all of my friends are like, you need to just be, maybe you might need an ugly dude. I don't believe the Lord created all the super fine men with no morals. It drives me nuts if I give a guy my number and the next day he's like, hey babe, drives me nuts. Like, I'm not your baby.
If it's a guy that you're
it's a guy that's like
average looking to you.
But if he's like a
head turner, then he texts you next day.
I'm like, hey, like I'm on it, and that's awful. Like I have to learn how to. If this is what I don't like, I have to like it no matter what they look like.
Yeah, equal opportunity.
Right.
Treat everybody equal.
And I'm working on that. Like in real life, working on that.
So do you find yourself, if a guy is very good looking, you have a higher level of patience with him and you accept more of his junk versus a guy that's not, I'll say average by your standard.
Yeah.
To actually choose.
Welcome to the 50K reunion, my homie, with Kia West. And how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, what have you been up to?
Working.
Working. So tell the audience, what do you do for a living?
I am a campus principal. I am a principal in Lancaster ISD at a middle school.
At a middle school. Can y'all believe that? I know you had a hard time being a principal of a school during COVID. How did that affect your workload?
Honestly, to be frank, it was the absolute worst day ever. I was ready for the school year to be over and for nobody to talk about it again.
I'm sorry, I apologize for talking about it again.
Because of the type of principal that I am. Very hands-on, loads of activities, loving on the kids. So it was very different. It was very different. We earned our stripes this year.
Yeah, y'all did. A lot of people may not know that you were my son, my nephew's principal. And one thing that I like most about you is that you are very hands-on. You're the type of principal that celebrated your staff. Everybody loved you. When you left Cedar Hill ISD, you went to Lancaster, everybody cried because they was going to miss you. So that speaks very highly. Speaks highly about your character and your camaraderie that you establish in your schools.
Thank you.
So how does that transition into relationships? Let's get a little nosy. What's been going on in the last year with Matters of the Heart? It's been about a year.
Well, nothing's changed. I'm having a good time.
Are you dating?
I mean, I'm open to dating.
Yeah.
I hang out.
You said hang out. Is that what they call now? Just hanging out.
Yeah, I hang out. I have fun.
You have fun. So you're going out dating. Nobody.
I mean, it's someone that I'm interested in.
Okay.
I want to be their friend first.
That's what I'm talking about.
They're very interested in being somebody's best friend. Like, I want to be with somebody that's my best friend.
And that's what matters most.
So that's what we're doing right now.
And see, that's what I'm talking about. And we've had our conversations. We'll get on the phone real late and we'll talk about your dating travails and all that good stuff. So it's good that you're saying that, hey, I want to establish solid friendship, because that's what's going to take you over the hump when things go wrong, when you get upset and you say we're friends.
I feel like if we're friends, some of the things that happened to me in my divorce or in my marriage,
right.
If we were legit friends, those things wouldn't happen. Like, if it's not going to work, it's just not going to work. And you would just pull me to the side and said that if you were my friend, instead of the way that the things played out. So if I feel like if we're friends, if it's not going to work, then you'll just say, hey, let's just end this on good terms instead of go out, dip and dab, and those type of things, because you don't do that. You know,
You don't be friends like that.
decisions would be made differently if I was truly, genuinely your friend.
So are you the type that still have close friendships with your exes?
No,
What?
whatever.
Why you saying like that? That was the question. I want to know.
That was one of the things that the people went crazy in the comments about. No,
They went crazy because you said that I was still being loved. Oh, you want me to say it? You want me to repeat it? Okay, y'all play the video.
Friends, you mean like friends or cordial?
Well, friends. I'm talking about friends, people that you can call and say, hey, guess what? Y'all talking about who y'all dating now.
Oh,
no, never that. Okay, that's good. I'm good.
Thank you.
All right.
Hashtag growth.
Love it. So what's on the horizon? So what's going on with you in your life? As far as any type of businesses you about to open up, anything you about to do, what's going on?
I do have a business that I'm working on, but I don't really want to speak on it yet.
Good.
But it does have something to do with children.
Good.
So I do think it would be very successful. So I'm just taking care of Kaden, being a principal, and having fun. Like, not putting too much pressure on certain situations, trying to put titles on things, just enjoying life.
Oh, so you say you don't want to put titles on stuff?
Right now, no, it's not necessary. The only title that I want to put on somebody is that's my friend, that's my dog.
Very good. You know, it's kind of different for a lot of women, because a lot of women, y'all kind of lean towards the title thing of saying, what are we doing? Who are we? So what are we doing right now?
But you know me, I don't ever say that.
No, you don't. But I'm saying it's good that you are keeping that same ideology and not being swayed by, you know, the other stuff.
I mean, I feel like if it's something that is going to be authentic, organic, let it happen. Go from there. But I do desire to be with someone that I can't wait to see.
When you watch the podcast back, or when you went and read some of the comments, what comments stuck out most of you?
Someone said, I actually saw one the other day. Actually, somebody screenshot me a comment when I posted about this. They went back and watched it, and it was one lady was like, she is her self-esteem is so low. Needs therapy.
Why is your self-esteem low?
I guess because I said I wanted a nice looking man. I still stand on that.
Listen, y'all in the audience, if there ain't something wrong with wanting a nice looking man,
We gonna stick beside him.
oh yeah, they say ride with you. They say ride with you.
Don't believe that God created all the fine looking men with no morals. I still stand by that. I feel hopefully the purpose and the preference
Lines up, yeah.
I do want to look at him and be like, yeah, that's me. Because I feel like if he looks at me,
Yeah, you want to say the same thing?
that's my girl.
Yeah, you want to be proud of who you done caught and who caught you. So there ain't nothing wrong with that, but they said that they felt like you needed counseling and therapy.
So I replied,
Oh Lord, what you say? Lord Jesus.
I said, well, I do have a therapist.
That's good.
But the self-esteem, that's a little bit much to try again because I don't have a low self-esteem.
You told try again.
I did. I told him to try again. I think I said something like resubmit your answer or something.
But see, people don't know that you're brilliant. Like you smart. Like they don't understand that. And what I loved about you is that you would go into the classroom and teach the kids. Like it's just. And one day I looked at you, I said, well, kid, I know this not gonna smart.
Yeah, because you underestimated me.
I did.
Because I can turn it off and on. So I always turned it off when you came. That was me. And then you were like, you're smart, like you thought I was dumb.
Because you're like extremely brilliant and everybody would speak highly of you. But then like around you just like homegirl and just crazy and cut up and do all that stuff. And I was like, wow, this is a different level. But do you find in the dating realm, do you find guys, are they intimidated by your brilliance or do you kind of dial it back for them as well?
I find some guys are attracted to me initially because of the hustle, because of the grind. And then it becomes a problem.
Because you work. Because you work a lot.
Right. Well, I've gotten better with that. But again, like I said on the podcast, I can make time for you, but right now you're not my dude like that. You're not my main priority. Mm-hmm. But I can adjust. But I do find sometimes the same way I love on my staff, I love on men like that and feel them. So sometimes they're taken back by it. They feel like it's fake, it's not genuine because they're not used to it. So the way I kind of love on people, and I'm a genuine person.
Yes, very genuine.
Sometimes they're kind of like, this is not real.
And they'll tell you that?
Yeah.
They'll say that they feel like you've been fake with affection.
Because a lot of guys with great jobs per se that I've come in contact with, so I'm not gonna say
right,
but they tend to get the girl that they feel needs them.
Praise be.
Financially.
Mm-hmm.
So
somebody in the amen corner. From the bum ministry over there.
Sometimes the want or the it's not aligned. So that person might not be showing you that type of affection because how you attracted them or what made them come to you is not because I like you for you. So I feel like for me, I'm easy to love. All you got to do is love me because I can provide for myself. I can provide for my kid without you, but with you, we can be dominant. Like so, it's just they're caught off by it because the need is not there. But I feel like the need that I have is greater than financial. I need you to love me. I need you to support me. I need you to be my friend. I need you to be that person that is not intimidated. I used to be afraid to tell guys I dated that I got a promotion. I don't want to feel.
Yeah, you did tell me. I was like, why was that?
Because I didn't want them to feel like they weren't enough or they weren't doing enough because the timing was off on theirs. So I want to be with somebody that I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm going to be your assistant superintendent, or hey, I'm whatever. And they're going to be like, cool, I'm going to ride with it. It's not like I'm trying to overshadow you or whatever. So that's where I am. That's what I go.
So listen, I wish you the best of luck on your journey for love. So you are still interested in being married, right?
I mean, today, tomorrow, maybe not. There are some things in marriage that I don't miss.
Like what?
No, Lord. Okay, so just to be honest, like I've been by myself for 6 years at this point, almost 7 with my kid. So there are some decisions that I make that I'm glad I don't have to ask anybody to take their opinion into consideration. So for example, I had a wreck, totaled my car. In that moment, I wish I had a man to call and say, babe, I have a wreck, can you come get me? Can you help me figure this out? But then when it was time to buy my new car, I was super glad I didn't have to ask anybody what do you think about this purchase because it fit in our budget because it fits in my budget. There are certain parts of marriage that I miss, certain parts of marriage that I do not miss. And so some days I'm like, oh, I just wish I had a long-time boyfriend and we just be fully committed. I want a baby. Sometimes tomorrow when I want a kid. It's about to be 7. It's sufficient. So that's what I'm saying. But I think my best friend always tells me, I think she's watching, when you find that person, then everything that you're hesitant about, the thing that you didn't like about your marriage will go away. So I'm just waiting for that. So I feel like when it comes, I don't know. I don't have to like press the issue for it.
I like that. And that's the best place to be. When it's not complacency, but it's contentment. Where you're actually content at where you are. And then when you're content at that and not running around being thirsty, trying to slide in everybody's DM and try to chase love, then love will chase you.
Look, there's some things I need to fix. Like, I don't want nobody to tell me no.
You still nobody tell you no?
I mean, there's some things in myself that sometimes I look at myself and be like, you ain't really ready for no man. Or you're not really ready for a boyfriend. Or I'm really ready for that. You know?
At what times does that light up in your mind? Like,
I'm at the school and Katie's with his dad. I drop him off and I go back to the school and I'm there till 9 o'clock.
Okay.
you know, sometimes I like to be lazy. I like to sleep all day. I remember some people be like, why you sleep? I mean, is that a problem? So, you know, it just depends. It just depends.
You said people say it's a problem, they call you still a bid.
Yeah, like, why is that a problem?
Because they know how hard you work?
After they get to know me.
Okay. Because you work. Work.
Yeah.
And, like a lot.
I do. But I'm getting better.
Yeah.
COVID now, the good thing about the COVID school year is it did help me understand that you can turn it off. Mm-hmm. Because we kind of had to. I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do. So it kind of gave me like okay, you can still accomplish things if you kind of turn it off sometimes. So this year I did turn it off for the 2 weeks that we had. For the first time in my educational career.
For 2 weeks?
I couldn't. Yeah, we had 2 weeks. The principal only get 2 weeks off.
In the summer? Mm-hmm. Only 2 weeks?
Only 2 weeks. Our contract is 226 days.
Damn. That's.
So I go back to work tomorrow.
Oh, you out the country though, didn't you? Oh, my bad.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I went to Cape Coast.
Yeah, you kicked it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I saw the pictures. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You helped make all this possible to hit 50K subscribers. You got a ride or die tribe that supports you.
Oh, that's my tribe out there?
Yeah, that tribe and all your people at the schools and all your friends. Yeah, they sit beside you. And all your friends and your coworkers or whatever that love the mess out of you. And again, thank you so much for the video that we did with Roy Jones.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are so innovative, and you had this great concept to start the year off after coming through COVID with saying, "Hey, we're gonna fight this now."
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother you this year. The thing is the aftermath.
Oh, geez.
I don't know what it's gonna look like because I ain't gonna bother you this time.
But that was a dope opportunity. That was cool. So I greatly appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Well, y'all give it up for Raquel Weston, y'all. Thank you so much.
When do I get up?
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
When do I get up? Right now. Right now. Now, during the dating phase, most people have it. They find it as a problem. It's troublesome because when you meet somebody, you don't know if you're meeting their authentic self or whether you're meeting their representative. This next guest, she is authentically herself. She exudes it. And that's the reason why I had her on the podcast, because I would watch a lot of her social media content. And I said, this girl owns 100% of who she is. Let's take a look at her clip.
It was one of those relationships where, I came as my authentic self and maybe myself was a little too much for that particular situation. So, and maybe even it wasn't just the family. I think it was more so on him. Yeah. I'm definitely not putting it on his family. I had a great time with them. Yeah. But I think he was like, maybe this ain't where I want to go.
I always ask my guests, especially if they're single, whether or not you actually want to be married.
Yeah, eventually I do want to be married with kids.
All right, so you say eventually. A lot of times, is that like, are you going to do the Oprah thing where you focus on career and then you find yourself older in age to get married, or are you saying that you think before 40 you're going to be married, or?
Yeah, I certainly think before 40 I'll be married, and I think I'm already doing the whole Oprah thing. I'm focusing on my career right now, but the thing is, I'm focusing on my career, but I'm also at a point, and we were talking about this a little earlier, where if something does fall into place, you're gonna know that that's the situation that needs to manifest, and to transition into something more.
All right, well, there it is. So hopefully the microphone sounds all right. Is the microphone good? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up.
Hey, this is behind the scenes action. This all good.
Yeah, this is what the show is. Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, this is the behind the scenes. Listen, I'm so excited to have you here today because you're a doggone fool. You know that, right? You just don't care about what people think. I always hear you respond to viewers' comments by posting a TikTok video. So Tashara.
Yes.
What's up with that?
What's up with that?
What kind of feedback do you get that makes you say, you know what, I'm going to dedicate a TikTok video?
I wouldn't call it all dedicated. No, so you're making it a whole bigger deal than what it is.
No, it's funny.
But no, I get people often that sends, in feedback. They're so used to seeing a certain type of person, a certain type of personality on the TV screen. And so when they see me come up, they're like, why do y'all have her here? I'm sick of seeing it. I'm tired of it. So yeah, I get feedback all the time.
Do you get that much pushback from you?
I wouldn't say that much pushback. I would say that there are certain emails that certainly stand out when it comes to people responding.
Wow. Because I don't know. I see all the love that people give you and how cool you are and how innovative you are and how we're all in the midst of this Crown Act and Texas and how you've been instrumental in changing the narrative and giving a face and a voice to it. And but it's interesting. I always forget about those people that's in the background making a whole bunch of noise.
Yeah, and they always be the loudest ones. Always.
So what do they not like? They not like your appearance?
They don't like the way that I wear my hair. They don't like that I do have an accent when I'm on TV. They're so used to hearing the cadence, the tone, the intonation of news anchors, and they just don't like that I'm being Tashara every single day.
That's what makes you so dope.
Yeah.
Is that,
Hello.
Is that you are?
Come on, somebody! Y'all better clap them hands in the audience. That's all I'm saying.
That you are authentically you, and I think that was a breath of fresh air, and it was a good look for WFAA to have you because you're just a dope individual, and people needed to see something totally different.
Oh, stop.
Especially,
I'm kidding. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going. No. So people need to see something totally different in the culture and the climate that we're in. Yeah. And so you're perfectly fit in the climate that we have. And
I thought 2020 was a perfect year to kind of bust down the door as well.
And you did.
Because I felt like, with everything that was going on in 2020, everybody's reacting to that. Yes. Right? And so I felt like it was just a perfect time to just let loose and just be me. I had always been me. And I think that was one of the things that attracted WFA to me when I was in Tyler, Texas. You don't just go from little old Tyler, Texas and come to Dallas.
Exactly.
Right? And so I think that was one of the things that stood out to them. And they wanted to have me in the building, and we made it happen.
And y'all made it happen. How do guys receive you? Do you get a lot of guys sliding in them DMs, trying to holler, buying T-shirts with your face all on it, saying, I support you, boo.
Oh, please keep supporting, please. Runministry.com. Guys often slide in my DMs, but that's it. Look, it's all about the energy for me. So if you ain't bringing the energy, then we ain't got nothing to talk about.
How much energy can they bring them DMs?
Not much. They will. Let me tell you something. People will Good Morning Queen and Grand Rising Queen you to death. And I am so tired of it.
You said Grand Rising?
Yes.
Grand Rising.
They be the ones on the most. Anyways. I am so sick of it. So yeah, people often slide in my DMs, and even when, let's say, one person does happen to have my phone number, they still just good morning. It's not good morning. Let's go to breakfast. Good morning. Let's go get coffee. Good morning. Let's go read some books. It's just
they have no intention behind.
There's no energy, and even if they do have intention, they're not allowing that intention to be known and received. So yeah, I get a lot of people in my inbox often. Stop.
He said, stop.
Yes. If ain't nothing coming behind it, go home about your business. You waste my time.
So you done launched this bun ministry, and it has blown up. And just last week, you did this big old event. Let's talk about that event. What made that whole event come to pass? And
wow.
And what do you plan on doing with this bun ministry?
Oh my goodness. So the event was all about celebrating Black beauty, Black brilliance, Black excellence, and really just putting our people in a room where we could all have a good time. I know Kim was part of it. She was in the audience here today. And it was just a time for us to just show off Black joy. It was a free event for everybody to come into. They left with products and all kind of stuff. And it was really just for us to have a good time. And when you look around that room, when you see all the pictures, the videos, the feedback, the emails, all of that has come in, you can just tell people enjoyed themselves there. They truly enjoyed it. I was having to kick them out the door.
I know it.
It was time to go.
And a lot of people was mad because they couldn't go because
I wouldn't say they were mad.
They was mad. They wanted to go. A lot of people was like, it filled up too fast.
But I backdoored and had an event on Friday because of the wait list. We had several hundred people on the wait list.
Yes.
And so we had an event on Friday, and a lot of those people did get to come to that event. But yes, they did want to be in Saturday. I know next time we're going to have a bigger venue and we're going to make that thing do what it do. So yes.
How soon the next one be?
I'm thinking next year.
Okay.
I'm thinking next year, but I think in between time, we will start to have some small events. At the event, I actually launched Loud Women Lead. That's my nonprofit. So yeah, we're going to really make some things happen through the nonprofit as well.
So talk about Loud Women Lead.
Loud Women Lead is about young women just being loud and bold in anything that they believe in. That's the genesis of it. That's what it's going to be. And we're going to try to get in middle school girls, high school girls, and pair them with young women that are already in their fields, right?
Yes.
So that's what we're hoping to accomplish with it. And through that program, we're going to have a lot of like smaller initiatives that we do underneath it as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what brought that to pass? What made you say, let's go from bun ministry to this?
Well, bun ministry will be part of it, right? I think that there was so much more to offer. We can't just stop at bond ministry talking about natural hair when there are so many more issues that are out there, right? I feel like middle school girls in particular are, I don't want to say forgotten about, but I think that's an area that people don't focus on a lot. Like we'll get to high school, we may go to elementary school, but middle school is where they're really coming into themselves. And I feel like a lot of times they're forgotten about. So I'm hoping to get the middle school girls and the high school girls and pair them with women that are already in the fields and things that they want to do. But I really want them to just be loud about whatever it is that they're doing. Like whatever it is you're passionate about, be loud about it. Women, we're so often told to be quiet, to, you know, not toot your own horn, to not do this, not do that. And I'm like, no, baby girl, hey, you step on that screen, you step in the spotlight, do what you do. So yeah, that's what it's about.
You've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of kids. So a lot of kids have been dressing up like you. I've seen kids dressing up like you for Halloween and everything. Grown women too. How does that make you feel when you see somebody get their hair done like you and they say, I'm dressing up like Tashara, and they're celebrating you like that? How does that make you feel?
I truly don't think I fully embraced how it makes me feel yet. Obviously, it's overwhelming to know that many people care. Yeah. To know that many people rally behind me when all this stuff popped off back in October. And that really was the reason why we had this event, to just say thank you. Say thank you. We wanted it to be free. We wanted people to just have a good time and to say thank you. And so that was my way of showing them, like, I'm appreciative of everything that y'all done. I had people come in from Atlanta. One of the girls who did dress up like me and had her hair in the buns. She flew in from Atlanta. I had people come down from Michigan, all across Texas. We had a whole lot of people here and a whole lot of people who wanted to be here from the UK that couldn't be here because we ran out of space. And so, you know, that event was my way of showing them, you know, sometimes maybe you can't find all the right words to say to somebody, but you can always show somebody how you feel about it. And so, yeah, that was one of my ways to show them, because I really don't feel like I have all the proper words to truly say how much of an impact that has had on my life and how much it means to see people still, however many months later, that happened in October, still celebrating that situation.
So when you went down to the Capitol, tell us a little bit about that.
Just imagine you in a room full of people who don't look like you, trying to tell them why black hair is important, why black hair and professionalism is a topic of conversation, what it means. And so we went down to the Capitol. We were in front of the State Affairs Committee. And surprisingly, by the way, which doesn't happen often, they voted the Crown Act out of committee. No nays, all yays for the Crown Act. And that was the Republicans and Democrats voted out of committee. However, it just didn't get past the House to make it to the Senate or anything like that. So obviously it stalled out. But it did get voted out of committee, which is a big deal.
See, I didn't know that part.
It did. So yeah, that situation was very much, you think about somebody like me who is ready to step in front of the camera, ready to do my thing. We do it every single day on the show. But I was scared. I was scared, standing in front of those people. They literally looking at you dead in your eye, like what you about to say? Yeah. What you talking about? Black hair? Why should we care? And so it was an opportunity to just inform them how this impacts people and to share like my Rooted series and the stories that I had heard through my Rooted series, and to let them know what was going on. So great opportunity.
My buddy Jay Barnett was on there, wasn't he? He did.
Oh yes. But not for
the hair, but for the
he was on culture.
For the.
I was like, Jay wasn't on Rooted, but he was on culture.
He was on culture, and you had both of these things moving simultaneously.
I did, and they're both still moving.
Look at you. Do you ever get any rest?
Yeah, I should be asleep right now, but you got me out here doing this video.
Tashara, you be going to bed at like what, 7 o'clock?
6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, 6, 7 o'clock, because you had to get up at what, 2?
1:45.
1:45. And have to be at work at what time?
Typically, now they want us there about 3, but I get there about 3:45, 4 o'clock.
Well, first of all, thank you for actually coming out here and making the sacrifice.
Yes.
All the way in Frisco, Texas.
Yes.
And on a day that you need to be going to sleep, because you got to be fresh, in the morning, up and ready to do something crazy. When you wear your hair like this on the news, did you get any pushback on that?
Yeah, not from my station. My station is very supportive of me.
Station love
they have been very supportive. I got pushback.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you see right now?
No, the guy, by the way, the male who emailed me, who emailed my station, not me. Now, he ain't want to be nice and just send me a little DM or nothing like that. He want to email the station. He emailed the station basically saying, I'm sick of Tashara and her accent and her wild hairdos. It's unprofessional and all this good stuff. So, yeah. This was last week.
That is crazy. I mean,
I got on Google, right? Anytime y'all email us,
that's what you said. Yeah,
I am going to go look up your name. It is what it is. You're bold enough to email us, I'm gonna go look it up. So yes, I got on Google.
Hey, you did that video. You said the video is like when you go look at the person that emailed you. Mm-hmm. That was so much shade. That is crazy. I didn't know you still get so much pushback from that.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I wouldn't say pushback. It's just people sharing their opinions, and that's okay. Everybody has one.
I guess we live
because when you say pushback, I would think that was from a standpoint of maybe the station isn't supportive. Yeah. No, they love.
No, I'm just talking about the audience is just like saying, "Don't do this, don't," and it's like they should be used to it by now. Right. Like we have a whole Crown Act that was before Congress. They see you on the news every single day.
Yeah.
Like
what I will say though is that even with all the work that we've done with Rooted, with the Crown Act, a lot of people have changed their perspective. I've had a lot of white counselors, principals, white teachers messaging me, emailing me, wanting me to come and read to their students, wanting to learn more. How should I approach this situation when I'm dealing with said students? So it has been beautiful. Yeah, we got a few people that still, need to catch up with everybody else, but overall, it's been positive feedback.
So what's next for you? You got your nonprofit that's popping off. Mm-hmm. You got the Bun Ministry as you begin, and we talked about how hard it is to plan events.
Yes.
And how awesome it is. And so you're going to be planning another event.
I'm going to have a team. I will have a team for the next event. There's no way I will be able to do that by myself. I'm really just trying to see where Loud Women Lead goes, and see how we can kind of jumpstart that program and really get into some of the schools, the ISDs, and seeing how we can work with them directly. So that's what I'm hoping to kind of get started here soon.
Yeah, I can definitely plug you into DeSoto ISD. Because like I said, I spoke to you about even doing their convocation. And that'll be a great segue. I'll introduce you to the superintendent and it'll be something really
Let's make it happen because you got me out here late. I need to get something in return.
You're going to get something. You're going to get a cupcake too. I got a cupcake for you. You got a nice little cupcake for you too if you want. Just comment on that. So listen, Tashara, thank you so much for joining us. You helped us reach 50K subscribers. Thank you for trusting me with your authentic self and your transparent stories. I love talking to you. You're just fun, just a fun person. So continue being you.
Thank you. Continue being you and doing what you're doing because this is amazing.
Thank you so much.
And you're helping so many people with the work that you're doing. So
I appreciate you. Y'all give it up for my homie Tashara Parker, y'all.
Do I just walk off?
Yeah. Yep, you can.
Do I leave?
Yeah, you leave now.
Is it time to go?
At this point, you elevate from the couch, and then you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. So I say, I wish finding love was as simple as baking or cooking your favorite recipe. This brother captured your hearts and captured your minds because he was transparently telling you how much he began to be intentional of finding love. And very rarely do you hear a man talk about desiring love and desiring marriage. And this brother really captured your hearts. Let's take a look at his snippet.
And I kept putting off the trip. I
see what you're going with this.
And so I said, all right, Kev, you can't keep ziplocking your life waiting for that perfect moment. You need to live right now.
Oh, that's good.
So I posted that to say, this is my new thing. So when you ask me the question, am I looking and do I want that? Yes, but I can't obsess about that because what happened when I was obsessing about it, I was ziplocking a large part of my life and not really living. I wasn't living in the moment. I was waiting. Like, it's kind of like that room in an old person's house, in a white room that you can't really go in.
Yeah, you got plastic all over the couch.
Exactly, and that's what we do oftentimes with our life. Then we don't really allow ourselves to like enjoy a vacation or a restaurant or a meal or something like that because we think that it's got to be
reserved for that special someone.
Right. Isn't it Dear Wifey Podcast? Dear future.
So yeah, listen, I'll give it up for my boy, Kevin Curry, y'all.
What's up, man?
So I'm trying to get this microphone situated. He already made a phone call to Michelle Obama.
No, I'm actually doing an IG post right now. I just did it. Boom.
All right, cool. I hope this audio sounds all right because I keep hearing feedback. All right, somebody said something better. All right, cool.
That was this.
Kevin,
what's going on, man?
You know what? Very rarely do women get a chance to hear the heart of a man and hear a man actually say they want to be married and they thought about this ever since they were young and growing up. What kind of feedback have you been getting from people who have watched their episode?
I got a lot of feedback. I think the same. It was just that they never heard someone speak like that, which that kind of surprised me. It's just basically that they really like the authenticity and the openness. I think my therapist, over the years, and getting me to open up. But I just think that was just the most important thing. And I've learned like relationships too that like opening up a lot more, it brings you closer together. It draws like intimacy. So I could see maybe perhaps somebody just kind of sharing their heart and their sincerity could kind of feel that way over the camera.
Yeah. Yeah. And so since last year, how have you looked at love differently, or has it been the same, or have you been dating, or what's been going on in your life?
Yeah, after that podcast, I did a lot of thinking actually. And so I took a step away from dating for about a couple months, and then I went back into the fall and started to open myself up and did meet someone. And it's funny because I forgot her name, but the first guest, it was
Raquel.
Yeah, Raquel, and she said something about building a friendship first.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I went into this relationship doing. Yeah. And I think, to my surprise, that's not something that I think she was ready for, or maybe not used to, or whatnot. I don't want to speak for her, and I don't want to share too much, just because like my last time, I like to respect people's privacy, and now I actually have a body to go to. So, but I think that was something that she had to get used to, that she didn't understand that, and so. I'm not sure if that's something that like people just don't do anymore, but I remember my mom saying something to me back in college, actually grad school. She said, "You know what? You young kids get married too quickly these days. You just." And I said, "Mama, no one's getting married." And she said, "No, but y'all act married. And you act like married couples. When me and your dad were just courting, we would just go out and hang out. We'd go to the soda pop shop," she said, "and just get and get something like that, and just take long walks." And so I think this time around, I'm trying to do that more, because at the end of the day, I do want someone to just to laugh with and travel with. And I think that taking that step back and not feeling there's like expectations, like because we're together, you've got to go ahead and do this. Yeah. I want that just to be kind of like revealed and natural. Like all of a sudden we're hanging out and, hey babe, it just kind of came out naturally, and it wasn't like that before. Or, we call in something, we feel the different energy. So
when you did, so a lot of, what is the misconception that a lot of women have about you? Because you got 1.6 million, followers on IG. What they think is that you probably got 1.2 million women trying to chase you down. So it's that's a big net.
Yeah. I started laughing because that's actually without saying too much, that was
Joe, what you say, Jay?
As I know this is live, this is different now. Last time you edit stuff and you can chop it up. Yeah.
Edit yourself.
All right. Yeah. So I think that I'll say it this way. That was the source of a really big argument and series of arguments and conversations right now in my current relationship.
Right.
And this idea that I don't know like what you really think about me, you know, and I feel misunderstood. And because I feel like misunderstood, that really affects the attraction and the intimacy there, just because you're reading something else, you know, into my actions. And so I'm at a place now, first off, that like I just don't want to argue. I don't like to argue. I mean, no one really likes to argue, like per se, but I just don't have it in me right now to go ahead and do that. So so I look for common ground like a lot more. But in the back of my mind, I do feel like often like misunderstood, that like you think that something else, you know, is like going on. For instance, as I've gotten older, I know how to pick the times when to have a conversation, and also if you're mad, are you really mad, or are you kind of fake mad because you're kind of horny or something like that? You know what I mean? like, or if it's you know, like, but then there are times when, like, you know, she's really mad. Yeah, and I've gotten to the point where like I know that I can go there like pretty quickly too. I think we all can. You just press that, and when someone that you like, they can kind of just keep going. And so for me, I've learned just to kind of step back from it. And I think that's harder for some people to go and do. I say it may be harder for some women to go ahead and, you know, deal with that. Because, and I think that's where the misunderstanding comes in. If me stepping back, you go to, well, who are you talking to? You must be doing something else. You're getting it from somebody else. And really, it's just like I'm stepping back so that way it's to your benefit. It's to our benefit that I step away, because I don't want to say something that I'm going to regret, just like you did. Because I'm going to bring it up later on, and you got to talk about it, you know, with me. So I'm doing that. But when a man backs away, you know, oftentimes I think that women look at it as if something like nefarious is going on.
Yes.
And if you just give us time to chew on stuff, to think about stuff a little bit, it actually, I think that you'll get way more than you'll get way more than what you asked for, because we've had time to like digest. And with me, I'm looking at, you know, like when I step away, I'm literally, first off, when I step away and I'm angry about something, I call my boys to vent.
Good.
I don't get their advice though.
Yeah.
Don't. I call my female friends
for advice.
Yeah, for advice, and I give them a scenario, because with them it's like I can be myself and I can say like whatever I want and I can be reckless, right? And then as I'm telling the story, they'll stop and be like, "Why'd you say that?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean when I say that?" Because this is what, and all of a sudden they're showing me like, all right, Kevin, here's where that came from. Yeah. And then now I can go back. But here's the thing. I'm doing that right now. It looks like silence to you. But behind the scenes, I'm actually working. So then now, like when I come back to you and I'm trying to explain like what happened, you don't really appreciate that, because I didn't do it whenever you wanted to. And also now, like your mind is, well, who are you talking to? And da, 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 da. When isn't the whole goal of us just to like communicate and get along? Yeah.
So let's put context around it. How much time has lapsed between the silent quote unquote treatment that she may feel and when you come back and reconvene?
So there's no silent treatment. It's just that I'm not going to talk about that issue.
You say, hey, you're still talking, you're still in.
Yeah. I can do that, and I think, I mean, maybe it's just because
that's good that you can do that and not feel like, because sometimes women say that a guy just disappeared, or even a woman may just not talk at all. Yeah. It'll still be, everything's still flowing, and
but you have to allow it to.
Yes.
Like, and I think that's the part where I think that maybe, and I don't want to project here and say women need to start doing it, but I think that that's the part where I think that some women sometimes in relationships kind of miss that, like,
it doesn't have to get solved like right now.
Yes.
But it can get solved. But you got to give it time to breathe. Give him time to breathe. Give yourself time too to reflect.
That's good.
Because oftentimes you're like, you weren't that right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I always think that what makes a healthy balance is when people can actually admit that they're wrong, and y'all are both chasing and trying to actually say, hey, listen, this is what I did wrong, and find that common ground or whatever. But like you said, when we get to a certain age, we don't be wanting to have all of those arguments and get frustrated.
Yeah. Like my tolerance for that is actually at an all-time low. So
I think that comes with old age. I think
it is.
Like, I ain't got time for all this.
It is, and I actually mean it. But you mean it though. When you mean it, like, hey, I actually don't have time for this. I just, I can't. So it's important for me, that as I get older, that I also practice a lot more patience. Good. Because I think that's really important. So that's one thing that I've been practicing a lot in the past year, and I'm not sure where this came from. Maybe it's because it was such a heavy year in 2020 emotionally, and just there's just so much tension that I started to say, all right, God, I need you to help to show me how to start giving more people some grace.
Good.
So that I can look at people who don't think like me, and even though, man, I think that you're bat crazy. What you're saying is terrible. But I can look at you and be like, you know what? You haven't had the exposure. You haven't even left Dallas yet. So I can't really blame you for feeling that way, or So practice like that has made me a lot happier, because I'm giving people a lot of grace, regardless who they are.
That's good.
So
that's good. That's good. So do you still have the same ideology and desire of marriage like you did a year ago?
Yes and no. I think that maybe like last year I was really panicked about it. Well, not panicked, but I was a lot more just like, oh man, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. And don't get me wrong, I'm still there. I still, would love that. But I also think about the people in my life who have just gotten divorced just because they jump right in and they're trying to perform. I think especially with social media, there's a lot of performative relationships and just performing in general, love and life. And so we miss that connection. And so at the end of the day, and goodness, if she's watching this, don't worry, I'm not saying I want to get married, but at the end of the day, I just want to have a dope relationship that we're just laughing and we just kind of just go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
the
good.
Vibe.
That's a healthy place. But listen, so what you got coming up? What you got coming on the horizon?
Some more products.
How did you bring my seasoning?
Oh my God, I should have not.
I wanted your seasoning,
and I had it right there.
It was sitting in the house. You just left it.
He put it there for me. Yes, to get. Sorry.
Tell everybody about the seasoning.
Yeah, so I've got some seasonings out, and I've also got some teas, and we're about to launch some skillets, and what's it called? And some salt cellars. So it's called The Fit Cook. You can find it at thefitcook.com, or you can just follow me at FitmenCook. On any platform.
You go to Amazon and buy all this.
And buy it on Amazon.
Amazon and everything.
Yeah, and we got a brand new tea that's coming. I'm really excited about it. I kind of helped to design it. It's called Cinnamon Rollin'.
Cinnamon Rollin'.
Yeah, and right now it's called Cinnamon Rollin' because it's supposed to be an after lunchtime, relaxing, sweet tooth type of thing. Mm-hmm. But it's a nice. It has some CBN in it. Some CBN, but the CBN. With the CBN, you can actually feel it. And right now we're talking to some attorneys to see if we can get it with the Delta 8 instead. So so I'm really excited about that. Just because I have seen the benefits of that in relation to anxiety and depression and mental health and wellness.
Yeah.
And so before, when I, as I grew up as a kid, just in the church, this is bad and yada bad, and we're all crazy now. And I just kind of feel like if we just kind of had just
CBD,
just kind of open it up. You don't have to go to church and do all the performative.
Take this hit real quick and sit down. So yeah,
go sleep.
You gotta still work it out.
Make you feel
yeah. So
yeah, make sure y'all go ahead and support that.
Thanks,
go to his website and buy his seasoning. I'm mad at him because he didn't bring mine.
I got it though.
I was looking at the stuff that you was using, and now it got me a nice little Traeger grill.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So business is going well.
Yeah.
The podcast is going very well. All right.
So I got the little Traeger, and I said, and I was cooking on Father's Day, and I said, man, I wish I had Kevin Curry's seasoning.
That's a good plug.
Yeah, I did. That's what I thought.
Do that again for the promos.
Yeah, I wish I had Kevin Curry's seasoning. Don't put it all on things. So that was really, really dope. But listen, Kevin, enjoyed having you here.
Appreciate you as always
for joining us on the 50K subscriber reunion. I appreciate you, bro. And y'all give it up for my homie Kevin Curry, y'all.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you. Kevin said he's going to walk right through the middle. Just right through the middle. Just climb up. No, you good. You good. Now listen. I always say before you're able to share emotional space with a lover or your significant other or preferably your husband or wife, you got to make sure that you overcome some of the past pain, past hurts, past trauma, past habits and hangups. And this episode really spoke to women. And we titled this episode Heal, Sis, Heal. Let's take a look.
Come on, blend in with the couch.
Sure. Is it playing? Oh, I can hear it.
And I kept putting off the trip.
I see what you're going with this.
And so I said, all right.
Ladies, if you are listening, you have to know who you are.
Yeah.
But I was adamant to hear him say that I did not love you. And he would not say it. And because I kept telling him, like, you cannot say you love me, and we've talked about this before. You cannot say you love me and then do these things.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was so connected to him that I was like, I just need to hear you say it so that I can let myself go.
Yes.
So that if I hear you say it, then I can leave this. That's the lie I told myself.
Yes.
That I needed his permission to leave.
Yes.
That I needed his permission for him to finally say, you know what, I didn't love you. We're over. We're done. And now you can have your freedom. And unfortunately, that's the truth for a lot of women.
Yes.
They're looking for this other person to either be sorry, remorseful, or give them permission to move on with their life. And it's a lie. Mm-hmm. It's the lie that you told yourself to give yourself permission to stay in something that's breaking you.
Y'all give it up for my homie Brittany Noel, y'all.
Thank you.
Brittany, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing great. You got your podcast all popping and stuff. I Am Worthy podcast.
We do.
How's that been going?
Well, listen, so I wish I had a set studio where we could record in that, my setup is way different from Laterra. And I'm losing my videographer. She's moving. So I need, help.
That means, hey, if you're in the Houston area and you do video and you want to give that good deal, then make sure you hit up Brittany and say, hey, she needs your services so she can keep this I Am Worthy podcast going.
Yes.
What was so dope about that is that I was giving you some consultation leading up to the release of your podcast, and we put a goal to say, hey, listen, when you release your first video, our goal was to reach 1,000 subscribers in 30 days. And what happened?
We reached 1,000 within a day or two. Even it was nowhere near 30.
It just took off. It just took off. And you had some other programs that you were trying to launch. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, after I did your podcast, I had already had my group coaching program open and ready. So as soon as people was able to put my name in Google, they found my website and they applied. So up until today, because people still come to me for that from that podcast interview,
And I would say specifically for Dear Future Wifey, at least 50 to 60 women have come through my program.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's been absolutely crazy.
Absolutely.
And one thing I want to really truly thank you in front of everybody is because it took off so fast in the first couple of weeks. You kept calling me saying, "Can I do something for you? Can I give you something? I done brought in all this revenue. Can I give you something?" I said, "No, you don't need to give me nothing. I'm good. God bless you. Do whatever." And then I looked in my mailbox one day and you done sent me $1,000. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. You said, "I want to sow a seed into the boys' home that you want to create." Yeah. And I just literally broke down crying. And I called you and I said, I got your envelope.
What's wrong with you?
I said, I just because it meant so much to me, because here I am I'm trying to birth something so great. Like I'm trying to birth a multi-million-dollar facility, and I got $3.55. So that's a big old long range, to get to those millions. And then when you have people like you that say, "I see what you're doing, I love what you did for me, and I want to sow a seed in you," I mean, that spoke volumes to me. So definitely thank you. So after you came on the podcast, you done left corporate America. Mm-hmm. What happened?
A lot has happened. I always say I feel like the pandemic opened a lot of people's eyes. And there was a point during the pandemic where, I go live every Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. So I'm talking to my people about being mindful of what the pandemic was teaching them while I'm in the midst of a pandemic, and everything about what was going on with me in my life was showing me that this part of my life had expired. And I was like, but no. And so I was supposed to leave in January. And
they said, yep.
And I pushed it back, right? January 1 hit, and I was like, ugh.
You wasn't quite ready.
I wasn't ready. And so by that time, I did your interview literally, I think, January 3rd.
Yep.
And it launched January 6th. I know these dates specifically for a reason.
I good.
But yeah, so that month, and it's like, by the time after the podcast hit, everything exploded. It just was impossible for me to stay there and ignore the fact that I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing every day.
Which is what?
Operating my purpose, helping women heal so that they can move into the higher version of who they are.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from the podcast, from people from your counseling program? What keeps you going? What keeps you pressing forward when times you get frustrated, want to give up? You got this event center that you're running in Houston. You had your day job that you worked, and now you had your purpose on the side. What kind of feedback were you getting that told you to keep pressing forward?
Because I've always, my passion comes from being able to help women who identify with my story of feeling lost, going through life, doing what you think you're supposed to do. And for me, I thought I was doing all the right things. I'm checking off all the boxes. I'm being the good girl. I'm doing what they said do. But life ain't going the way I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
And so you reach a point where you get angry, you get upset, you get bitter, and you lose a piece of yourself in trying to be something for everybody else.
Yes.
And so my passion is helping women come back to themselves. I think this past weekend I was working with a client, and I listen. I don't allow myself to cry with my clients.
You don't allow yourself.
Connect. But it's like, she was like, Brittany, the woman that I have learned about who I am, she was like, I'm falling in love with her and I'm willing to fight for her. And I tell people all the time is that you will know that you fall in love with you when you are about to fight somebody about you. When you get to that point to where you're not willing to self-sacrifice and self-sabotage because you realize that you are worth so much more than that. That's my passion.
You got some international clients now?
Yes.
She said, I am an international coach now.
International. You have to clap it.
Yeah, you have to clap. International coach. So what happened? When you had your first international client, like what time were you coaching them?
So I had a whole international group. So we had so many people apply that I couldn't, I coach in the afternoon. So for them, that's like 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
So we did a whole international group. I had women from Kenya, Mozambique, London. It was amazing. I'm still excited.
Listen, I just want to thank y'all in other countries, because y'all support has been so phenomenal that not only are y'all watching the podcast and supporting that and sharing it, but the guests that I have on the podcast, y'all are supporting them and patronizing everything that they have going on and really allowing them to even launch into their purpose. And Brittany is a testament of what y'all did for her. And she is so grateful. Like she called me, she's like, I got people calling me from inboxing me from Africa and South. She just started reading all the messages and all the countries that, wanted her service. And she said, I think I may have to go do some international stuff. And then there it is. You're actually doing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this entire time for me has really been about just, they have done such an amazing job of taking an opportunity of everything that I already have, but even creating more programs. So that's where we got the workbook.
Yeah, you releasing workbooks? Let me tell you something about Brittany, bro. When I say Brittany, she said she's finna get this $1. Brittany be releasing stuff. I said, she is releasing content. Boy, I'm telling you, she like, I got a book, I'm working on it right now. I'll be talking to her. I'm going to the printer right now. I said, oh, what? Another workbook. I'm like, how are you doing all these workbooks?
Well, let me tell you
but you had it all lined up already.
Exactly. So,
and I
tell my clients, especially the clients who come to me and they want to talk about purpose. And I explain to them that who you see today, it was a process.
Yes.
And that even just the way my business structure was set up to be ready for the people who came. I was like, all of that came from seasons of preparation. And I tell them I went through a season of transformation. And I want to say that was like 2019. 2020 was my year of transparency. And then 2021 was the year of release. And I coined all these years before I knew what was going to happen.
Oh, really?
So every year I have a theme. So at the beginning of every year, I say, well, this is what I feel is going to happen for me. And I tell them transparency had to come before the release.
Woo, talk about it.
So it's like the more you grow into who you are, that's what makes you powerful in your purpose. And then when you're ready, when you've prepared, you'll be released. Because before I had the slew of clients I have now, I was studying marketing. I was studying product development. I was studying passive income. So when the people came,
you already had it for them.
I was already there.
Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. When I tell you that was so dope, and then I was talking to you about some programs I want to release, she's like, oh, I started you put the infrastructure together for an online curriculum, and you was like, let me show you this. And you did that in what, 2016?
That was 2018.
2018?
Yes, and so that was Speak to the King. And that program is coming back. I'm so excited about that.
Do it.
Yes,
Yeah, do
that
it.
program is coming
Definitely
back.
Definitely do it. So what can people look forward to? Because you got so much I don't even know where to start.
Listen. The podcast we're still making content.
Make sure y'all go to the YouTube channel and watch those videos.
Yes, we're still making content. I have one more group that I'm going to do before the end of the year. So if you guys would like to be a part of that group coaching program, it's on my website.
8
you can
slots?
go now and apply. Yeah, I only do 10 slots every group. So
all right, so you got 10.
10.
Okay.
And then what I am now going to start doing are small boot camps. So instead of, extended amount of time, I'm going to do boot camps on very specific topics starting in August. The first topic is going to be on attachment styles. So teaching people how they attach to different people, why you attach to certain people, what attracts you to certain people, and how to find a secure attachment instead of an unhealthy one.
That's good.
Yes.
Woo, that's good. You hear that, Jay? You hear that, Jay?
So that's going to be our first boot camp, and it'll be a 3-day boot camp with me in August.
Oh, that's dope. Is that in person or virtual?
It's going to be virtual.
Okay. Are you going to start doing some in-person? So
I had my book signing, and I had someone come from Dallas, and people coming from everywhere to see me. But I'm so excited. But we had the book signing, and that was my first live event. And so I know, and it was just a random Thursday night. So I know a lot of people said that they couldn't make it. So I want to bring my in-person events back. So pretty soon I'll be doing a lot more in-person workshops.
Shoot, keep doing what you're doing, Black sister. You're killing it. I'm proud of everything that you're doing. You're a go-getter, and you add so much value and content. And even just conversation that you and I had, just talking, you add so much content and so much value in just casual conversations.
Yeah.
And so that's what's so dope about you. Well, listen, y'all give it up for Brittany. Make sure y'all go to her website and patronize her. Thank you so much for joining us, Brittany. I greatly appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Get up out of here.
You said get up out of here? All right. Go ahead. Scooting around. Now, this brother, people thought that I knew him before he actually joined the podcast because we had this chemistry, we had this synergy. But one thing that made us so dope and made us, really bond with each other was our trauma. We faced some of the same issues in relationships. And so as soon as he came on the podcast, we just hit it off well. And you've seen him on the podcast more than any other guest. We've been on lives together. I even gave him the platform and said, here, go ahead and produce this dope segment that he did. That was a couple of months ago with Elsa and a couple of other people. And it was a dope segment. But let's take a look at a couple of his past episodes.
From the moment that you tell her, yo, just gonna use Tasha, and Tasha, I think I'm falling in love, and I love you. Automatically,
Yep.
it's just shifting.
Expectations.
Expectations just shifting.
This is what men don't talk about. Why? What happened?
The reason men don't talk about it because, one, we don't have the space to talk about it.
That's true.
Secondly, what does that look like to even talk about it? Am I gonna look like a punk? Am I gonna look like a nigga? I'm just keeping it 100.
Yeah.
Am I gonna look like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you hurting? Oh, you know what I'm saying? You let this, because you've been there.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so, and that's why we don't, because it's the fear of being judged, mocked, or ridiculed for how I feel about what I was put through. She says, Jay, your character has to be assassinated before you can be elevated. She says, your character
Has to be assassinated before you can be elevated.
So I'm in prayer. God tells me to look in the mirror and prophesy to myself.
I've had those moments, Jay. Don't take me back there. Oh, God.
So he says, look in the mirror and prophesy to yourself. So there's this tall mirror. I look in the mirror, like literally tears are streaming down my face. And he said, begin to speak into your life. So the tongues came and I began to speak into my life. And I didn't understand what he wanted me to say.
Y'all give it up for my homie, Bishop Pastor Jay Barnett. Jay, what's been going on with you, man? Dude, I'm on a sabbatical right now. I'm not even here right now. Oh, you ain't here? Well, I'm talking to this representative right now. This is my hologram. It's a hologram. Yeah, I'm not even here right now. He blew up so much that I had to go and book his hologram to show up on the set today.
Let me call it Real Jay.
Call it Real Jay. Man, what's been going on with you, man?
Bro, I'm on the sabbatical right now, so that's what's been going on.
You enjoying this, huh?
Man, no work. I ain't answering my phone.
You ain't on no social media?
I ain't on no social media. I'm not doing nothing.
How long you been doing this?
Going in my 4th week tomorrow.
4th week?
4th week starting tomorrow.
Of doing nothing?
Of doing nothing but just writing, recalibrating, reflecting.
I saw you take your nieces and nephews on a trip or whatever.
I took them on a trip, and then I'm going out of country tomorrow. You know what I mean? So, that's
just kicking.
That's why I got my shirt on.
You already ready?
You can't tell me nothing.
You are ready to go hang out, huh?
I'm ready, man. Because see, I do sabbaticals every year, and this sabbatical is important because I have so much coming up. And so many new projects and so many things I'm a part of.
Let's talk about it. What projects you got coming up?
And so, well, man, I don't know where I start. Let's talk about
No, I want to talk about, because after you came on the podcast, it was like you was already doing big stuff, but you just took off like crazy. Like your episode was the first episode to hit 100,000 views, and it just your career just exploded. Like you running around doing stuff with Taraji, doing her show, seeing you on the Breakfast Club. Charlamagne shared a snippet from our video. I watched your followers go up. Like everything has just been popping off.
So before I say anything, comment, I'm gonna just say God is faithful.
There it is.
That's all I'm gonna say.
There it is.
On that, God is faithful.
There it is.
Because I think after we had the podcast, you remember where we both were at that time.
Yeah.
And even just talking about what God had shown me and what He was going to do in my life. And man, I'm just humble, man. And I'm humble because God didn't forget about me. And when people ask me, I was just in LA 3 weeks ago for the BET, and I was hanging out with some people who were, just we having meetings, and they just like, man, you just so grounded and chill. And I said, man, the testimony is what my humility is connected to, man. Mm-hmm. That testimony, man, I'll never forget, what God brought me through, and to be in this place, to be a face for Black men healing, and to be a voice. So since then, I left private practice. Mm-hmm. So I'm no longer in private practice, and I started a virtual online counseling and coaching platform.
That was about a month ago, right?
Yeah. Well, I started it probably early in a part of the year.
I'm talking about when you fully left.
Yeah, I left. So I left private practice May 15th. Mm-hmm. And my friend Brian passed away unexpectedly in March.
Sorry to hear that.
And when he passed away in March, man, the way Brian lived his life, because we had just talked, we was getting ready to do a live. I was putting together the Just Heal Bro tour, and I wanted him to be a part of it. And when I found out about his death, man, it was just like, man, something in me was like, you have to carry on for Brian and live life as he would have lived it, because he was 36 when he passed. And I called my director and said, I'm taking a sabbatical from work. And the sabbatical actually turned into me leaving. Mm-hmm. And she's like, when are you gonna leave? Do you have a date set? I said, nah, let me pray on it. So I'm gonna go in that closet. So I went in that closet. I heard May 15th. So I hit up, I said, May 15th. She said, okay, May 15th. And there was some fear, because there's comfortable and security in private practice. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, and I love the Inside Fitness where I was at, and I love Ricky and everybody that was a part of the team. But I also felt that God was pushing me to do something more, and to move beyond. And so I leave. May 15th is my last day, and I get a message say, hey, come to New York and do the Breakfast Club. And so, and it was crazy how everything sort of happened. So boom, go do the Breakfast Club. And then when the Breakfast Club dropped, Taraji, people hit me up and they're like, hey, we want Jay to spearhead our new campaign, Unspoken Curriculum, which is about really encouraging and really defacing all of the things that kids, Black and brown, young boys and young girls go through in the school system. And so how it affects their mental health and different things like that, how they're treated differently, and how they're handled, when it comes to certain things, because most of them are criminalized, mm-hmm. and they're not treated fairly as white students. So it's been great to work with her team, and, I'm continuing to work with them. I'm actually speaking with Charlamagne tomorrow on his event. And so we built a great brotherhood partnership, some things. Just Heal Bro, my journal is dropping next month. Working on a show. I can't say, because y'all know these folks, these networks. But but here's the thing though, man. I knew it was getting real when I walked away from an $8 million deal back in late April, early May.
You walked away from it.
So I was offered $8.2 million to be exact for a show that I was a part of, that I was a co-creator for Black Men Healing. And the network offered us $8.2 million. And we wanted to maintain creative control and be able to have EP credit, the other brother that was working on it. And in this, man, God was speaking to me, because, I'm just like, dang, 8.2 million. but 8.2 million is not a lot of money in TV when you look at the entire production. And so, and as I'm breaking this down, I'm having an understanding, like, if they offer 8.2 million, what am I and what is this really worth? And that's when God started saying, think bigger. And man, I'm just telling you, bro, like stuff that I'm going to be a part of that I can't say, like major things that I'm a part of. Yeah. And so that's why I had to take the sabbatical, because it was becoming overwhelming. Because sometimes, man, when you've gone through a drought season, mm-hmm. and you've gone through a desert, you have to be careful though too, not to fall in blessings guilt. You start feeling guilty for God moving and shifting things on your behalf, mm-hmm. because so many times, man, we hold and attach ourselves to the struggle And so what God was like, no, it's over. I brought you out of it. Embrace this space. Because there was major networks like, no, we want Jay. Like, we want Jay to come talk. And I'm talking about people like that are like in my like we talked about it, right? I'm talking about every like Black News Channel just hit me up yesterday. The senior producer was like, hey, listen, we want you to like what can we do? What do you want to do? And I'm talking about people are throwing money, people are throwing this, and I'm just like, wait a minute, God, what's going on? And God said, no, this is your harvest.
Let me tell you something. And I want to jump in on this. Y'all give it up for God in this situation. What I'm thinking about the whole time while you talking, you tried to kill yourself several times. Several. You tried to commit suicide several times because the devil didn't want you to have none of this right now. None of this. Isn't that crazy? That when you sit back and look, when the Bible says the thief cometh but to kill, steal, and destroy. Yeah, man. And then the caveat to it is where God said, but I've come to give you life and life more abundantly. And this is your abundantly right here. Yep. Man, when I tell you the devil, boy, I'm trying, man, let me tell you something. How many years was your last suicide attempt? 10 years ago. 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And you had never thought that this right here happened. Well, I would have never thought, man. Let's go back to 10 years ago. Who were you then? What was going on in your life? 10 years ago, I was on the phone with both my mom and dad, and I told my mom, you know, I'm getting ready to take my life, and they were nowhere around, and so they kind of pushed through the story. So I take an overdose, and my godmother found me, and underneath the bed, probably like the next day, and so I've been out for a while, man, because it was just like, I was like, man, I was for real about it. But I was at a place, man, where I hadn't really understood what purpose meant. And purpose, as I see it now, is your reason of existing. Purpose is your reasoning for existing. And for me, I was trying to find something else that could just kind of take the pain away. But God was looking to give me something to give me life again, to use the pain as fuel. But then what I do like about God, because see, He'll give you pain, that way you don't become intoxicated with the success and with all of the accolades. And that's why I don't care what you say, Jay this, Jay that, dude, there's nothing you can tell me to make me think here. It's humble. I'm going to always keep my face to the ground. And because I know what it was like in that moment to call my family and to tell them that I was taking my life, and they're on the phone like, Jay, don't do this, and trying to stop me, screaming and crying and all those different things. And my mom, and so just to be here now, man. And, you know, I made 39, which I say I'm 40 already. So, and the reason I'm excited about turning 40, because if you look like this, you know, going into 40, like there's nothing to be excited about. So, but the level of peace that I have going into 40, oh my God. My mom, I was sitting at the house, I was sitting on the floor. She just looked at me. She said, boy, that peace around you. She said, I can tell, because it's like, even after the podcast, man, every time I release, it was freeing. It was liberating. It was healing. Because you carried that man, story for a long time. Man, I carried that, man. I carried that weight, man. And it's just been amazing for so many, you know, celebrities and people to recognize me that I built friendships with. Yes. That I've helped men that we look at and be like, man, and they're, you know, reaching out to me and being able to help them and to be a voice. And that's dope. It's overwhelming, man. It's a blessing, and it's been a blessing, man, to see what Bishop Jake spoke into my life to exist. And it's been so many things full circle. Next month, I'm the guest lecturer for my university as the first.
From the moment that you tell her, yo, just gonna use Tasha and Tasha.
Listen, this how God is. They was like, man, we were honored to have you, Jay. Would you speak? I'm like, yeah. So I didn't know I was getting paid for it. So he was like, yeah, I'm doing it. So when she was like, yeah, it's like, yeah, we're gonna send you all this payment stuff and all this, and you know, with the payroll. I said, oh, I'm getting paid for this. And then when they told me I was getting paid, I said, shit. He said, I'm gonna come and talk real good. I said, what? So they said, no, we got to get you before your speaker
star
fee.
rise, yeah.
So
we start talking about 50,000 to show up and speak.
But when they told me, I said, for real? And bro, I'm telling you, I can't share this. I'm actually filming a series next month in LA called Jesus in Therapy. And man, that's dope good. Series, man.
That's good.
It's so many amazing things that I'm a part of, and that I've just been blessed to make therapy look dope. And and what was the thing when I was in grad school, everybody was against it.
It was against what?
How I wanted to make therapy.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, because it's all old white people.
Yeah.
And so and my dean of students, who's a white guy, man, me and him meet every other month. He watched all my interviews. So when I was on Taraji's show, boy, he was just like, oh my God, Jay, dude, I just love what you're doing with therapy, man. Dude, send me more interviews, man. So he watched all of my stuff, man. And he said to me, and this meant a lot coming from a white man, gray hair, glasses. He says, Jay, I've never seen anyone go on television, radio, and do with therapy and move concepts around to where it's relatable and understanding with people. But then he came back and said this, I like how you never remove God.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah, but then he said, you don't use God. Like, you don't hear me say God, but he says your words have God in it. And when he said, I was like, man, Dr. Addison, I was like, and he was just, and I said, Dr. Adams, I'm a PhD student. So, and I was like, Dr. Adams, cough, cough, honorary doctorate, you know what I mean?
He said honorary. You're going to give me the honorary.
So he says, well, Jay, keep doing what you're doing and some things could happen. So that's my next big thing. I'm believing for this, this TV show stuff, but the honorary doctorate, because that PhD life is real.
World.
But man, but so much has happened, bro.
Listen, when I'm telling you, I'm so proud of you. You're making God great, and that's true. You have made therapy look extremely dope, and that's what's so dope about it. People,
I want to make it look like this shirt.
Make it look like this shirt. Look like a whole vacation, huh?
A whole vacation, because I'm gonna be up on that bird in the morning.
You finna fly out. Well, listen, man. Thank you so much for taking time to stop.
Yeah, man. Always, bro. You know it's love, man.
Oh yeah, you my brother.
Listen, this guy here, man, is all day. I call him T-Wit. So you know what I mean. So, but I love this man. Powerful vision, powerful brother, and I just love his heart and his genuineness. So, and he know anytime he called me, I'm like, bro, don't worry about the fee. I got you. No, man. No,
I love you, bro.
Yeah, because, bro, if I could say this, you put me on.
To God be glory. God put us on.
You put me on.
That was God.
I mean, bro, I had to shut down my virtual counseling
because they kept blowing up your office.
Dude, I mean, it got so bad. And when they say blessings overflow, it got so bad that my PayPal was creating anxiety within me. I kid you not.
I want y'all to create anxiety in my PayPal.
I kid you not.
That feels like.
I was waking up. People were booking sessions. I'm kid you not. I woke up, bro, literally like 10 grand, and I'm just and my pay, because my anxiety is bad, not because of the money. Because see, people think about the money, but every time
to all those people,
exactly.
That's an hour. That's an hour of your day. That's an hour of your day.
The hour. So that's why I'm like, nope. No. I shut that down. I do 3 days. You don't get on them 3 days. Hey,
how many hours on those 3 days? You do an 8-hour day?
No, 4.
You see 4 clients.
4 clients. Well, I was seeing for 2 years. I saw after George Floyd, black men started getting in therapy and black people. Bro, I saw 700 people.
Over what period of time?
From April 2020, because I was already on virtual, to when I left the private practice.
700 people.
700 sessions.
Well, you deserve your break. Go ahead and get on that bird and fly on, because you've been going through.
I'm not on IG, so don't send me no message. Y'all email me. I know some of y'all been calling me. I see you calling, but I can't talk. I'm on sabbatical. I love y'all. I love Dear Future Wifey Family Podcast. I love my bro. But I hit y'all up in 3 weeks.
Hit y'all up in 3 weeks. Get up and jump on there. Yeah, he's so stupid. Man, thank you, brother. I love talking and chopping up with my voice. Now, listen, man. Having this couple on the podcast really challenged my senses. It made me start thinking about what is it that I truly see. To be able to look beyond my retinas and cornea, to be able to look and see people beyond the physical, see them in the spirit. And this couple, having them on the podcast, touched my life so dramatically that I let that episode roll. That episode was close to 2 hours long because it was so powerful. And so let's take a look at this episode.
Like, tell me your story. Pray with. Oh, he must really love you. And I'm like, can he just love me?
And I'm
Why
like,
can't I just give good wife and just so happen to be blind?
I'm sitting over here like, I got enough.
I like they say get good wife.
I got enough to deal with trying to make sure I'm good and deal with her to write some book.
Then people, then this when it irks me. When people be like, you married? Yeah.
Shondell, what's wrong with your friends?
How you take care of them? What you mean how I take care of them?
She could.
It get real part. I done had several women come up to me. Well, how do y'all have sex? Ma'am, do you always have the lights on when you have sex? All right.
The lights is always off.
No, okay, when the lights always off for me. Get out ma'am. Get out my drawers.
Y'all give it up for my family, Rich and Tiffany Martin. How y'all doing?
It took a while to get here, but we
You know what's so dope about y'all is that when somebody wants to feel sorry for y'all, they can't because y'all are some complete nuts. Like y'all crazy. And everybody keep talking about Tiffany. They're like, this lady is absolutely crazy. They laugh so hard at y'all's episode because you just crazy, Tiffany. What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
It's my fault. I'm
married crazy. So.
You married crazy? Yeah. So it just came by default.
It became one. And
I'm just a mirror.
So let me tell y'all something. This is what's so crazy. On the episode, y'all kept talking about how y'all not going to be out here speaking. Y'all ain't going to be doing all that. You said you ain't going to be out here selling canes and all that. You said these people have you out here selling canes. I'm not going to do it. Exactly. And then what happened? What happened?
To be honest, it took us a minute to get around to doing the podcast. Like, my homegirl, Chanel, like, kept saying it. And I'm like, girl, no. Like, I'm not. And I think what the deal was, I think we were just scared because we had just kind of been in this shell where, like, everything was, like, collapsing on us.
Yeah.
And it's, like, really scary. No faith. It's just really scary to kind of step out into the public view and, you know, all hell is breaking loose.
With the right intention.
Mm-hmm. With the right intention. And then it just stuff wasn't panning. So I'm like, at this point, we were just kind of out of, you know, like we needed help. And, you know, we needed a kidney. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And so she was like, call it Terry. I'm like, oh. I'm like, nah. And she did it. And so, I mean, you saw how everything, you know, we shoot one video. You like, come back for this. We did it. I mean, and it just, you know, people calling us, hey, you had 20,000, you had 30. And I'm like, okay. Like, you know, and I mean, it just kind of blew up from there.
Because people resonated with how, see, I'm going to tell you something. Talking to y'all put me in the posture of, I don't care what's going on with me, I can't complain. Because you have faced so much pain and your health is under attack, and you can still laugh, you can still joke, you can still cut up and act crazy. I can't complain. I can't complain for stubbing my toe against the kitchen sink. You know what I'm saying? Like we complain about some of the most trivial stuff, and here you are facing a terminal illness, and you still laugh.
I mean, it's my healing. This is what God gave me. Like being in love with Rich. And I ain't trying to do no book or anything. This is my healing. It's, you know, loving him, you know, focusing on him, focusing on us, focusing on work, you know, just stuff. But like just waking up and we just cracking jokes all day, you know, it's just, that's what gets me to the next moment. And I don't know what I'll be healing him from, but you know, just
a lot.
It's just, that's what it is. So we don't ever want to go around the place and not, you know, just make it comfortable for people and, you know, laugh, enjoy, you know, and then just go on. That's it.
One thing I appreciate from Rich is that he was transparent about going through therapy, about dealing with anger issues. And so that was really dope for you to be man enough to say that. You know, you have no idea about how many men that you touched by admitting that, because what you did was create reference. Oftentimes people use us to create reference so people can say, oh, I see what that looks like. I hear what that sounds like for me to acknowledge what I'm going through, and then I go get help. But that was so kingly of you to do that. And so I applaud you at standing 10 toes down and saying, hey, listen, I'm going to therapy. I'm going to therapy. So, man, that was extremely dope. So let's talk about what's happened since the podcast. What kind of feedback have y'all been getting? I know I'll see y'all get booked for speaking engagements. What's been going on? Yeah, that's what's been going on. That's what's been going on. Because at first you was talking about you wasn't going to do nothing. And then you said after y'all left the podcast, y'all sat in the parking lot and y'all had a conversation. What was that conversation? I just kind of like let the moment and we were just kind of like, you know, it was adrenaline rush. It's like, oh, we just spoke about life, you know, and then I was like, you know, I'm not going to be scared anymore. Good. I said, God, if you want me to do something, you're going to have to bring it to the table. There it is. I was like, because I'm good with, you know, with my work, my company and everything. I'm like, I'm not, you know, you ain't got to ruffle feathers. And I'm like, if they come, I'll say yeah. Good. And then it just, and I'm like, so thank you. Thank you.
You know, since we talked, I received the proclamation for the Americans Disability Act for the city of DeSoto.
Mm-hmm. Look at that.
My tech company, because, you know, I'm a tech company that serves persons with disability. We're partnering with Ladies for Art, Culture, and Education, and we're providing an education platform focused on STEM to help with their development process. So it's a nonprofit for, you know, young girls in the DISD. So we're, you know, trying to get that launched. And with Jensen, my digital marketing company, we have an international film festival that we're working on. And so I just kind of been, you know, keeping my head down.
Keep your head down. You've been working, bro. You've been
working. So, like, and I really have to thank Rich, because every picture people be seeing and he's back there, my cheerleader, or, you know, as soon as I leave, yes, you know, he get me to the car and I could be exhausted, and he, you know, he's the one, like, you know, good.
But you got so many people talking about they want them a Rich. No, they don't. Why you say they don't? They don't know what it costs to be this. I wouldn't wish it on nobody, because we all ain't built the same. Yeah.
You good.
I'm good for me. For you. But to say that, like, oh, I want Rich, no, you don't know.
Ask me about the comments part.
What kind of comments? What kind of comments?
So your follower base, they are really dope, incredible. One in particular.
Two in particular.
Wanted to say what he deserved.
Oh, really?
Deserved better.
That's what they said. Listen.
That's fine. He can deserve better. He got best.
I got it from him because yeah. So
where the camera at?
The camera right there.
Pull up.
Pull up.
I said it in the front. Pull up. I am a good wife. Don't try me.
So I'm scared of a blind person with a gun naming my wife.
Point me in the right direction.
So what happened when I saw the comment? I was like, deserve. Did you watch the show? Because it wasn't about what I deserved. It was about how our interaction was. And I think I'm like, do we do this when we read the Bible? We just missed the whole point. I didn't even say that. And so I replied as best as I could, because I'm like, I'm on your, I didn't want to go off and be like, what you mean? So I said, deserve.
He replied.
Hold up. I said, I got it. What you say? And so I said, deserve. So what did I deserve? And I don't think the person knew they were talking to me for being on the show. Well, you know, she didn't like him until such and such. I read that. And I said, no, if you looked at the podcast, and I said completely after all of that happened, it was God's timing.
Yes.
Because we tried to do it the first time, it didn't work for whatever reason, but then it just happened to be when sickness came, the door opened.
Yeah.
So I don't want that to be lost in translation from what you depicted. And besides, I'm the guy. She was like, oh my God, I didn't know. And I'm like, yeah, it has a different tone. All right, cool.
I remember, they did say it. They said that it seemed like when she got sick, that's the only reason why she wanted you.
And I'm like, this whole 2-hour podcast, that's what you took away. You drew nothing from nothing.
And that's why I said you can't really focus on the 1%ers.
And that's why I was only like, this is the only one I'm going to comment on, because after that, I ain't got no energy for the rest. Because I'm like, yo, this is what, this is like.
This she waving the hand. She wants to say
no, I said I got energy. But hashtag growth from the person. I'm trying to grow, so I was good to go.
No,
I was like,
I had my sister like, who is she? What she look like? Let me go find her name and look her up. And then my sister was like, all right, I'm on it too. I'm like, oh no, you got a whole hit out on this girl. Like, it ain't that serious.
It's not that serious. That is so hilarious. So give us an update. I've gotten a lot of inbox messages with people saying that they want to donate a kidney to you and all that stuff. Has there been any update on that?
So you have people across the globe. I mean, we have people from like
Kenya.
I'm like, yo, you can't you can't send your kidney across the pond. Like, no, but no.
You might need that.
No, I ended up calling a lot of your followers. Like, they emailed and we just talked, and a lot, like, it was just healing for me to know that, like, what we went through wasn't in vain. And I mean, I heard many women say they were like in 20, 30-year marriages and got sick and they just left, or left them with the kids. And I'm just like,
I didn't understand none of that. I'm like, you wait till you invest all that time and be like, all right, I'm out the minute it don't go your way. Yeah. You ain't honor none of your vows.
Nope.
And I ain't saying it's the easiest thing in the world, but like, come on, you already invested this much this year.
It was so many calls, but since then, I was actually able to get on the kidney list.
Yes.
So we're still hoping for a living donor, because living donors, that transplant actually lasts longer than when you get from like a cadaver. So we're still hoping and praying for that. I turned in blood work, which is an indicator that it's a strong possibility. Yeah. But due to HIPAA laws, they won't tell us anything until it's like, hey, surgery this time. So we just pray that.
They don't tell you anything until it's time to get a surgery. They'll call you and say, surgery, how soon?
Schedule this day.
Just be ready.
That's and that's on both ends, whether you're on the list or an actual living donor, unless the living donor comes and tells you. But I haven't received a call or anything. It's just turning the blood work.
I got to keep my phone on the ringer on just so I don't miss a call. So,
you know how beautiful that is? I remember doing this episode, and when I knew that y'all's episode was coming up and we were going to shoot it, I said, God, I want you to perform a miracle. I said, I started this podcast, going on a personal journey to discover, uncover, and recover love. And I said, you've allowed me this unique space to meet these beautiful people that have a need that will not only change their life, but give them life. And I said, God, I don't take that lightly. And I said, do this for me, God. I want you to provide her with the need that she has. And I'm still believing, God, that it's going to take place. And in the next couple of months, it's going to be done. You got plans? What you got plans? What you got plans to do?
Listen,
we're going to go on a honeymoon.
That's true. Y'all never got a chance to go on a honeymoon.
No.
Yep.
No.
Like I told Rich, I want a family. So that kidney working, you're going to get your mind right into
that's why I'm in the gym now.
That's why you're in the gym now, to build up plants and stuff.
Because I'm like, this kidney's going to last. So
I'm 44, so it's like this got to work.
Got to work the first round. Right. I'm tired. Okay, I'm tired.
I need all the energy I need.
No, but it's been a whirlwind, and just helping people has been the best part of your podcast.
Yeah.
And talking to people that I'm like, I don't care about, I don't care about no notoriety or anything like that, but just the one-on-one emails and just calling people and talking to like your followers. That's the fun part. I can do that all day.
I'm glad that you're actually calling and talking to the people. That's dope. And
it's so funny because they're like, oh my God, Roger. I'm like, I'm not a YouTuber. Like, I'm hey girl, hey. But no, I mean, it's fun. Like,
one guy called, we was driving around talking to him for like, what, 2 hours?
No, seriously.
Yes. She was like, Rich, there's a guy he wants to talk about. I said, talk to him.
And I talked to him. He went in and got the groceries. I'm just sitting in the car, ministering, talking. And I'm like, really, it kind of hit me. And I'm like, I do the work. I'm like, I could just do this. I really could just do this and help and advocate. But I mean, it's been fun. So
that's what ministry is about. Anything y'all got, you already said everything. You got an international film festival going on. You got this. Rich, what you got going on?
I'm still doing counseling and trying to work towards, something in counseling, because I think for so long, at least where I come from, that's not something that's talked about. So it is hard for anybody to identify what's actually going on with it.
Yes.
Like if I've had depression, like how would I know?
Yeah.
Who would I talk to about that? Because now I'm like, well, that ain't depression. Like you just being like, nobody knows that. So when you actually get to talk about it, it's like, oh, all right, makes sense. So now I know what to do.
Yeah.
So now I want to pay that forward. And we've been getting, been involved with the DeSoto police, learning about what happens with certain things going on. I might even go on a police ride with them at the time.
Good.
And we've been going to some city council meetings, just seeing how that whole thing goes. So just getting more involved in the community.
Oh, you got Jim's camp?
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow I'm going to Jim's camp as a counselor for young women. I think
teenage
to, middle school to teenage. And they was like, you sure you want a guy? I was like, yeah, it'd be nice for them to see it. Yes. I said, okay, cool. If this works for you, fine. So we got about 2 weeks of that. And yeah.
Well, listen, man, it's been a joy to have y'all on the podcast. Just watching y'all story and hearing y'all story spoke to my life. It added another little wrinkle in my brain and what I desire in a wife, to have a kingdom marriage. And what y'all represent is a kingdom marriage, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I thank y'all for adding reference to my life and showing me what real unconditional love. And y'all represent the vow that for sickness, through sickness and health. And that's what you represent. And I appreciate that so much.
And since you said, I'm healing you, you have been healing me as well.
There it is. See, you've been healing him.
Go home with me, so.
Well, y'all give it up for Rich and Tiffany, y'all. Thank y'all for having them on the podcast. Thank y'all so much.
I'm going to let you drive.
Yeah, she said he's going to let him drive. We're going to give him a minute to walk off the set. Thank y'all so much.
Come on, baby.
Y'all, okay, you're going to walk that way. Great.
Well, that's the way you said to go.
Yeah, exactly. I thought she was about to walk that way. All right. Well, listen, man, I hope y'all been enjoying this live. You know what? There was a very important moment that I had this year on the podcast. And that moment was when I decided to surrender my whole self to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I was already a Christian. I was saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, with the evidence of speaking in tongues and all that. But I didn't totally surrender my body to him. And on December the 30th, I decided to take a vow of abstinence. Let's take a look at that episode.
First of all, man, I just want to ask you, are you saying today before God and before these witnesses that you are renewing your commitment to love him more than you love yourself? If you agree, please say, I will.
I will.
Telling me, hallelujah, hallelujah. Live inside of me. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Clean out everything that's in the way. No more distractions. No more distractions.
Love of my life, please forgive me for sharing my body with other women on my journey to you. Forgive me for not being patient and waiting on you. I promise you, I'll be free from every soul tie before we encounter. From this day forth, I'm submitted to his will as I deny my own. Baby, I can't wait to pursue your heart the way the Lord has pursued mine, unconditionally. We will be purpose partners. Our next dimension is predicated on our obedience. God will do great exploits through us and roll out the blueprint of our destiny. I love you so much. I'm looking forward to discovering, uncovering, and recovering your love, your future.
Man, I received so much feedback after that episode. I've had people DM me, people asking me to speak in Clubhouse to talk about how did I arrive at that moment? What made me decide to do that? And to be honest with you, it's because I want to operate in clarity. The biggest decision that we could ever make is deciding who we link up with and marry and do life together. That changes our trajectory. It changes our finances. It changes our legacy, because if you link up with the wrong person, then you can find yourself in divided homes and all this type of stuff. It can lead you into bankruptcy. It can change all kind of stuff financially. If you have somebody that's not wise with finances, it can lead to different pain and hurt that it may take you years to overcome. And so I said, God, I want to be clear about who I am. I want to be clear about who you are. And the only way I could do that is by totally surrendering myself to you. And so I'm very grateful that I'm still walking that walk and leaning into God more to find out who I am. Because the first step of discovering and uncovering, recovering love is to first fall in love with yourself. And I never knew at that moment that I really didn't value myself as much as I thought I did, because I thought that, you know, on that episode, y'all recall that I said I finally got to the point to where I actually love myself. And I never even considered that before. You know, I never thought that I didn't love myself, you know, but when God began to uncover that, and God is such a gentleman, because if y'all saw in the episode that Jay and I did, I was talking about how my son found condoms in my armrest in my car, and we laughed and joked about that. And then you saw the start of season 2, where I had Lestine Bell come on to talk about abstain the game. And then a couple of weeks later, we did a purity ceremony. And then, as God would have it, a month after that, God said, I need all of you. And I gave all of myself to him. I've gotten a lot of males that reached out to me and made a commitment and made a vow. So shout out to y'all who decide to take that walk too. You know, I never take that for granted, and I'm humbled by the fact that my life is allowing you guys to live a deep life and an intentional life with God. Now, there's always people behind the scenes. I have a lot of friends in my life that encourage me along the way. I got my homie, Rihanna, who's here right now, helping to produce it. I got my boy, Bobby. I got my son Armani working, so definitely a shout out to them for all that they do. But when I envisioned doing this podcast, I talk to my friends and stuff. I got friends everywhere, and they'll hear me tell them my ideas. And my good friends will always encourage me and say, hey, you know, I believe in you. A lot of friends always say that they believe in what I do because they've seen me execute a lot of stuff. But this friend is really close to my heart. And she's actually going to be a guest on an upcoming episode. We're going to start breaking down the marriage vows. So let me introduce to y'all my homie, Kimberly Alexander. What's up, Kim Possible?
I'm very nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Because
nervous for?
Well, I don't have anything to go on, so I'm just gonna.
No, we just gonna talk. That's all. So when I first told you, now Kim is one of those people that if I make a Facebook post and people try to attack what I say, Kim said, no, tell me what do you say?
Well, there've been a few.
Exactly.
But I get very territorial, and I like to defend you, and I always want to make sure that you say the right thing and don't put yourself out there in a bad light. So I just like to look out for you because you're good people. And I know you have a good heart.
And your background is what, in communications? You went to school for this? So why are y'all nervous? This is what
I'm not nervous about... Yeah, I'm just like, it's live and I don't want to embarrass my children.
So, Kim, when I first told you I was going to do this Dear Future Wifey podcast, you have seen some of the letters that I would write. What did you think about it?
I thought it was interesting. You always come up with amazing ideas. You're very passionate about anything you set your mind to. I definitely didn't doubt whether or not you could do it. I think what has blown me away about it is the level of production, your commitment to it. I don't think people really understand the hours that go into this man. I don't know what camera to look at. He is
your camera right there.
In the studio all the time.
Yep.
And but then, sitting here now and seeing how it has not only helped you, but helped so many other people.
That's what's so
I mean, it's beautiful. And, 50,000? Like, really?
And in 15 months. In
Really?
15 months. I'm trying to get like Kevin where I get 1.6 million.
Yeah. That's next.
That's my goals right there.
Kevin's like big time.
Yeah, he's super big. I'm trying to get to that. But one of the things that was so special is that you watch me, the source of where this podcast was birthed out of. The pain that I've gone through dealing with said relationship, and you've always been that voice and that ear to listen to and be like, I'm gonna beat up, but you was always that person that be ride or die. And what was so dope about it is that you've been able to watch this whole thing matriculate, and the fact that you're gonna be launching your podcast. And when are you planning on doing that?
See what I'm saying? You let me walk right into it.
Oh yeah, there it is.
So part of the reason why it has taken me so long, at least recently, is Laterras has me really being very intentional and thinking about my fonts and merchandising and big picture. So it's coming. Yeah. It's coming. I won't say the name of it. I love the name of it.
Yeah,
I love it. And so it's coming.
And you've been talking about doing this how long?
A couple years, like 6, 7.
Yeah.
I know y'all are laughing at me?
Yeah, we're laughing at you. You said 6, 7 years.
Yeah, I got a lot going on.
This is 6 or 7
I've been
years.
busy.
Listen, Kim is going to be on an upcoming episode. As I said, we're going to be breaking down the marriage vows. And unfortunately, she has a lot of knowledge behind the vow till death do us part. And so I just want to thank you in advance for coming on the podcast in the future, in the next month or whatever, to actually talk about that, because I know when you begin to talk about that, it takes you back to that loss. It takes you back to that pain, and that requires a lot of vulnerability on your end to actually share that on the platform. So I definitely want to say thank you for that, and I don't take that lightly. But what you got coming up?
Oh goodness. Hopefully moving soon. That's been in the works for a long time. Yeah, I launched a health communications company in April called Level Health. Yeah. It's a Level Health agency, and we focus on just trying to help the health disparities community. We create programming and messaging to help close health disparity gaps. So the reason is because, and I guess we can kind of go into it, but I lost my husband to cancer, and so over the past 11 years I've been really active in the cancer community, and I want to help my community, blacks, browns, all of us, be healthier and do better.
That's so dope. Yeah. That's so dope.
Yeah.
So doggone important. Yeah. Well, I definitely didn't want to end this podcast celebrating 50K without acknowledging my friends. It's a whole lot of them I can't really name right now because I'll be going through an exhaustive list. But definitely, since you were here, I said I definitely want to acknowledge you, because you've been that person to talk to late in the midnight hour and chop it up and all that good stuff.
Messaging you at 2 or 3 in the morning, catch you up.
Yeah, I'll be like, yeah, I'm up. Y'all take me up. I'll be up. You be like, dang, I'm surprised you up. I'm like, I'm over editing this. I'm working on this and whatnot. And so definitely shout out to everything that you got going on, and just being a rock solid friend.
Same as you.
That's really dope. So listen, I hope y'all enjoyed this live stream. Again, thank y'all so much for celebrating. Without y'all, none of this would be possible. Next goal, 100K. So let's go ahead and push 100K. I appreciate y'all so much. Don't put limits on God. Whatever that you have envisioned in your mind, in your heart, in your life, that there's nothing too impossible for God. So thank y'all so much, and God bless.
Congratulations. You gotta sit here.